That's what I'm talking about. That's what we've been waiting for. Hello, my wonderful viewers, and welcome to another episode of Betty Adams Overanalyzes. Today, we are going to be taking a spoiler-free look at Kaiju number 8, chapter 111. This chapter has two really good examples of two, I don't know if you'd call them plot devices or tropes or writing tools, but there's two really good examples of two things. One is obvious to the point of being almost cringe. So when you have a character like Kaiju number 9, who has a very story-critical internal monologue, or external monologue, as it were. Sometimes it's Kaiju number 9 thinking to himself. Sometimes it's just Kaiju number 9 monologuing to himself, which makes a lot more sense once you find out that he's literally a collection of consciouses. That when Kaiju number 9 talks to himself, he's having a wide-ranging discussion with a bunch of different viewpoints. So it makes sense for Kaiju number 9 to talk to himself, but it does give the creator a certain leeway to reveal things that would otherwise be much trickier to reveal. Now, Matsumoto pulls it off. It never comes off as cheap or a shortcut. Because Kaiju number 9 is a scientist, it's almost always perfectly in line with the rest of the story when he goes, "Oh, I observed something." Like when he observed that Kaiju number 8 protected humans. And he stated those observations out loud as he was escaping after his fight with Kaiju number 8, where Kaiju number 8 rescued Reno and Iharu. So Kaiju number 9 has this habit of making statements of things that are obvious to him, and it's very useful in that it helps we, the audience, understand what's going on. We get an example of that, where the panel is just focused in on Kaiju number 9, and Kaiju number 9 goes, "Ah, I observed this thing." And it's a teaser for what is going to be revealed to the audience, but it also, just that Kaiju number 9 observes this, that he recognizes this with his words, tells us so much about what's going on. I don't know what this trope is called, a narrative trope. It is a form of telling, not showing. And you know the golden rule of writing is show, don't tell, but to any rule of writing there are exceptions. Sometimes when you have this arrogant, scientifically minded character, you have to tell. Or it is best for the progression of the story that you do tell. So that was brilliant. It was brilliantly done, but no matter how well done this trope is, it has the danger of feeling like a cheat. Feeling that you're telling, not showing in the bad way. So it is a fine line to walk when you have a character like this. The other thing, it's not a plot twist. It's not a Chekhov's gun. There is a situation that you come across in stories where the solution, the resolution, in the moment is obvious. So if you have somebody who has spilled something on the floor, the obvious thing to do is to get a broom and clean it up. If you have somebody who is dealing with a problem, there's a situation where the solution is fairly clear to the audience, and you start basically yelling at the screen, essentially, do this to fix the thing, or you start wondering, why aren't they doing this to fix the thing? Again, I don't know what you call this trope. When the author sets up a problem, and it's usually within one scene, or within scenes that are very close to each other, and the solution to the problem is fairly obvious. And then, in the logical course of the scene, the creator brings in the solution to solve the problem. This gives the reader part of the satisfaction of predicting a plot twist, but not the entire satisfaction, because it's not really a plot twist. The one solution would be so obvious, so clear, that there would really be no other option. Do this thing, It's obvious what you need to do. But the author does it in an appropriate timing, if that makes sense. So there are beats and rhythms and flows to story, and you want to bring, for maximum impact, you want to bring in the solution at the proper beat of the story, at the proper point that will have the maximum impact. And we get a brilliant example of that in this chapter, where Kafka and Mina have a problem. They're fighting Kaiju number 9. And there is a solution that's kind of been nagging at the back of my brain. Well, why aren't they doing this? Why aren't they doing this? And I said, well, maybe this, maybe this. And now it becomes clear why they weren't doing that yet and why they are doing it now. And so I look forward to the next chapter. Here's a little speculation. It's not a spoiler, but it would actually, no, that speculation would give spoilers, so I'll save that for the spoiler review. But what do you think, my wonderful viewers? Do you think those moments when Kaiju number 9 goes, oh, so this is how it is, out loud for the audience, do you think that's a way of cheaping out and cheating the reader and relying on telling, not showing? Or do you think with a character like Kaiju number 9, this cold, calculating scientist with that utterly arrogant tendency to monologue, it just makes sense that this happens throughout the fights? So leave a comment below telling me what you think, hit that like and subscribe button, and peace out, my wonderful viewer.
Escape into another world with the writings of author Betty Adams. 2 worlds, one of utter absurdity, one of dramatic tension, both alike in aliens absolutely astounded by human behavior. Humans are weird, short, absurd science fiction stories. Flying sparks, dragons, aliens, and things that go boom in the night.
Books available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Kobo by Rakuten, Google Play Books, and at authorBettyAdams.com for a signed copy.